Hello guys, in this video I'll talk about REST operator. So REST operator is one of very important interview questions. So it is commonly asked with spread operator also. Like both of them will be combinedly asked. You'll be asked to explain what are the use cases of spread and REST operator. So without further delay, let's get started. If you're wondering that if you don't know about spread operator, I have already made a video on spread operator. I'll put the link in my description of this video so you can check that out. Okay, so let's get started. REST operator. For REST operator, we use three dots or three periods or ellipses similar to the spread operator. So the only difference is in REST operator, we use REST operator in the function signature or function parameter. So there are various use cases where this comes in handy. This video will be in three segments. First of all, I'll discuss a simple example of REST operator. I'll implement a code where you will understand that what is the use case of REST operator. Post that, I'll take a complex example whereby I'll explain that how can it be used with other function arguments. Okay, so let's take a simple example. Let's take a function. I'll use an arrow function. So I'm implementing a new function, my custom function, and this function I'll simply console log the arguments. Let's give a name to the arguments. I'm trying to use REST operator here. So if I console log of this, and then let me call this function. And now in REST operator, whenever we use REST operator in the function argument, so we can pass as many as arguments that we want. So I'm passing random arguments, and number of arguments can be any, and it will not depend. So what it does is this whatever we call this function with some arguments. So these arguments will be stored as an array, and array's name will be args. This name can be anything. We can name it just like anything you want. So if I console log of this, so let's check. So I get an array. An array consists of all the elements that I passed. If I give more arguments like 56 or anything, or take some string such as Bruce, so what I'm expecting is in the arguments I'll get all the elements in a form of array. So now with this array, this args array, if I want to do any array operation like sort, like map, reduce, filter, these all can be used with this array. So this can come in very handy. This is a very simple example that I told now. So this is what REST operator does. It stores all the elements in a form of array, and that can be used for the further function inside the code block. So okay, let's go to the next block, whereby I'll explain that a very simple use case. Suppose we are implementing a sum function. I'm leaving the arguments empty right now. So suppose I want to calculate sum. This can be done in any ways. I'm expecting some arguments here, and post that argument, I'll calculate the sum of all the arguments. So now how can it be done is I can use a reduce function or a simple for loop. Let's do with a simple for loop. I'll store this in a REST operator with the help of REST operator in an array. So let's do with a simple for loop. For let x of, because this is an array, args is an array, so I can iterate over it. I can do, initially I'll define sum as 0. Now I can store is equal to sum plus equal to x. Now I can return sum. Now I have to call this function. Now you can understand that why exactly REST operator comes in handy. I have defined 3 arguments. So if I first I'll comment this out, and after that I'll console log of that. Okay, I'll store this in a variable sum. Okay, sum is already defined, but that will not create a problem. To avoid confusion, I'll name it as output sum, and then I'll console log of output sum. Now if the output of this is 79. Suppose now I want to make this function is generic. If I defined it as x, y and z, then it would be just and implemented this with x, y, z, x plus y plus z, then it would have been only for 3 arguments. Now when I define with a REST operator, this function is generic, so how much ever arguments I pass, it will give me a result. So this will give me a result. So this function becomes generic because of the REST operator. So let's move to the third use case. This will be a generic, and I'll discuss how we can use REST operator with other arguments in this case. Suppose I want to calculate the scores of Indian players. So I want to get scores. I'll make a function. I'll first of all myfunc. Okay, I'm using an arrow function here. So suppose I want to get fname, lname, this is first name, last name, and then I'm using REST operator. REST operator, I'll come to this use case, but REST operator can always be used as the last argument of the function. It cannot be used as a first or middle argument or any other place. It needs to be always at the last place. Let me make it more complex. I'll define it as default parameters. So if I don't give any, if the first argument is undefined when I call it, then it will take Indian player. So let fname and first name, last name. Okay, so now let me call this function, and after that I'll write the logic behind it. So what I'm saying is I'll call this function with list of arguments. So you can see here is first name and last name I have declared but not defined. So if I send it to the function, I'll call the function first name, last name. It is undefined. I can also write undefined here, but I choose to do so. So now I can write any number of scores. These are scores of n number of innings that the player played. Now based on this, I can console log of first name and last name first. So I can do name equal to first name. I'm concatenating the strings and name. Okay, I have to use fname here because the function argument name that I gave is fname. Okay, so this is there, and post that I want to calculate all the scores that is given. So this is similar to the sum function that we used. So what I can do is let total score equal to 0. Now I don't want to use reduce function here because some of you may be unaware of reduce function. So you can also do this with a reduce function. It is very easy. You can check out in Google. Also, I'll make a video on that. Total score plus x. I could also write plus equal to, but this will also work. And then I'll console log of total score, or let me write score is equal to total score. So because I didn't define what first name and last name is, it took the default parameter as Indian players, and then it gave a score after calculating the sum of the scores given. So if I want to pass more scores, like the player played more innings, and I want to give more scores, so it can be given. Also, optionally, I can directly pass the player's name, such as Rahul Dravid. So now I can get name equal to Rahul Dravid, score is equal to this. So REST operator can very easily minify our problem and get the scores very easily. Now one of the problem that I said is REST operator cannot be used in the first as the first argument or anywhere in the middle. So let me show you what happens if I call the REST operator as the first. So we will get a syntax error. REST parameter must be last formal parameter. So REST operator is called a REST operator because it takes the rest of the arguments. It can either take all the arguments or the rest of the arguments. What I mean by that is, the first two arguments will be fname and lname, and rest of whatever arguments I'll pass will be stored as array in args. That is REST operator. So it is rest of the arguments stored in a rest variable using REST operator. So args will store all the other elements. I hope I have made myself clear. So this is all about REST operator. If you like the video, press the like button. Also, in the comment section, let me know that what more video and what more topics can I touch upon. Thank you.